Good morning. You're listening to Trusting God at All Times, a daily devotion from Peakland United Methodist Church in Lynchburg, Virginia. I'm Andrew, the deacon here at Peakland. In case you didn't know, just the other day, the Washington football team came up with a new name and announced it to the world. They are now the Washington Commanders. It's a fun name. For those of you that haven't been paying attention to what's been going on with the Washington team, up until recently, they were the Washington Redskins. They've been the Washington Redskins for a very long time, and it's only been in the last 2 years that things have started to change. There's been a lot of controversy around this name for a while, but it didn't come ahead until recently. When it did, they stopped being the Washington Redskins, and they became the Washington football team. And that's what they've been for about a year, 2 years. It wasn't until this past week that they became the Washington Commanders, unveiling the new name, the new logo, whole 9 yards. And if you didn't know, there's a lot of people who don't like this new name. As I was listening to several other people talk about how much they don't like the name, or they don't understand the new name, or things like that, I came to a conclusion that I don't think they could have renamed the team much of anything that people were going to like. And yet, they needed a new name. Sometimes, when we prepare to change, when we move forward with change, and when we adapt to be better, to be more like what God has called us to be, we run into conflict with those who knew us before. It can shape our relationships. It can make people not want to be involved with a program. People tend to get hung up on change. We have a tendency to get hung up on change. We don't like it. We don't like losing what makes us feel comfortable. And yet, over the last 2 years, the world has drastically changed. How we envision community, how we envision church, how we envision society has all deeply changed. And much like the Washington football team, the Washington Commanders, we are now at a place where we have to acknowledge that things are changing. That we are changing. And so I invite you to join me as we continue to imagine, to dream, and to build towards what comes next for Peakland. In this world that has changed drastically, who will we be? And as that change comes, remember that even though we may not care or love everything new that happens, we are continuing to grow together because it is time for us to change. Amen.